one of their best weekends in company history, at least Anthem company history. So let's get to Dave Meltzer's report on Bound for Glory. So TNA had what is in name the biggest show of the year, Bound for Glory, promoted around Joe Hendry, the company's hottest star, going for the TNA title against Nick Nemeth. Let's see. He actually did rate the matches. So I'm going to get into actually the star rating. I didn't even know that he watched. So this is me pulling up the Observer for the first time. So they had their biggest U.S. crowd in years with a sellout of 3,000 fans and 2,750 paid. That's really good. So that's good. Now he's saying that the crowd only reacted to two things: Joe Hendry's quest to win the TNA title and to Matt and Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. I would disagree. I think that there were some other over, like Santana was really over. And there are also some heels that got over. But yeah, the big reactions were to Joe Hendry and to Matt and Jeff Hardy, which is what I've been saying. So this 3,000 sellout, 2,700 paid, great numbers. I want everybody to get it out of their heads that NXT drew this. Get it out of your heads. It didn't happen. Go back and watch NXT for the last 2 months and tell me where on NXT television they advertise Bound for Glory. Just find one advertisement for Bound for Glory where somebody from NXT is telling you to like, hey, don't forget to watch Bound for Glory on TNA, or if you're in the Detroit area, go get tickets. Tell me where that happened. Tell me, go look at WWE's Twitter account or their NXT account and tell me where NXT or WWE at any time retweeted Bound for Glory advertisements, told you that you can go see Wendy Chu in Detroit. Show it to me. You can't. So who drew the house then? It was Joe Hendry and the Hardys. That's it. Joe Hendry and the Hardys drew the house. Joe Hendry and the Hardys sold the pay-per-views. Now, you're going to say, well, Mike, NXT does get some credit. The only thing that they get is that, and they, like, over the summer, they featured Joe Hendry and he got over. That's the credit that they get. Okay. And of course, Zach Wentz. Zach Wentz had not been on. Zach Wentz wasn't even on the pay-per-view. He was on the pre-show. But Zach Wentz, yeah, he had a great feud with Wesley, but he had not been on the show since October 1st, I believe, like the debut episode on CW. So the only credit that they get is that TNA stars went and got over there and they have made themselves more famous, thus making themselves a bigger draw. Right. Specifically Joe Hendry. So that's really the only thing they get. And they also get a little bit of credit because by the WWE embracing TNA, it has made it okay for some of their hardest of hardcore fans who only support WWE and are tribalistic towards everyone else. They've made it okay for them to like TNA. It's weird behavior, but they have made it okay for them to support TNA and to like TNA. And so there's like some fans out there that are now willing to go check out TNA because WWE said that it's okay. Right. WWE has allowed TNA fandom to exist in their eyes. And so that's where they get some credit. 90% of the credit goes to TNA. I didn't think that they built the show very well, to be honest with you. But 90% of it goes to TNA, specifically Joe Hendry and the Hardys for being as over as they are. And they are over. So kudos to them. All right, now let's get into the business. So 3,000 for Bound for Glory, 2,750 paid. I think that's believable number. Now the pay-per-view buys at press time 5 days after the show is currently tabulated at 2,500 TV pay-per-view buys. You figure with streaming that would be up just under 8,000, but that number will rise. It's up 11.7% from Slammiversary at the same point in time. Okay. Up from Slammiversary. Why is that important? Slammiversary ended up getting over 30,000 buys and beating the Omega Rich Swann pay-per-view. That's huge, right? So these late buys coming in for TNA and for Slammiversary which I've never seen anything like it, to be honest with you. But for some reason, people will buy TNA like in the weeks after. So we could see this thing rise up to over 30,000 again. It's already up 11%, 11.7% over what Slammiversary did. I think that if it continues on the trajectory and if it does, then I think that we'll see this thing actually beat Slammiversary overall. I mean, it's already on its way. And Slammiversary was huge. And so now you're looking at on pay-per-view it's already by far the best year on pay-per-view that TNA has had since Anthem bought the company, but you're actually competitive with old TNA years. Now it's not gonna be too competitive because TNA used to do 12 pay-per-views for a long time. This modern TNA is only doing 4, but that's huge. That's huge. And now if we do over 30,000, if you look at it now, just comparatively speaking, you're say AEW does like 120. If you do the math, that's a pretty good comparison because TNA has like a fraction of the budget. so like they like the production budget, the travel budget, the talent budget, the promotional budget that AEW has, and of course they're on TNT and TBS. So for TNA to do kind of like, 10% of what, actually more than 10, like less than 10% of what, no, more than 10%. So for them to be able to do like, 30,000 versus like 120,000 that AEW did, like that's pretty good for TNA considering how much they're actually spending on the shows. They're making a good chunk of their money back. So I think that's really good. So kudos to them. I'm going to continue to track these numbers each week, but as of right now, Dave is estimating right around 8,000 pay-per-view buys, 5 days out. We'll look at it week by week as long as he continues to put the numbers in it, but we could be looking at over 30,000 again, which I think for TNA, that's huge. Io says, what if TNA Plus can get add-on deals with other streams, Mike? With other streaming, I don't know what that means. Let's see. Billy says, I talked to people there and they were exposed to TNA through NXT TV. There were many non-hardcore TNA fans there, hence some of the lukewarm reactions. Yeah. So I think like TNA comes to town and then like they put Joe Hendry and the Hardys on the billboard. The ticket prices are pretty low, especially in the general admission seating area. And it's like, okay, well, what are we doing tonight? It's like, well, wrestling's in town. We'll go check it out. And then they see Nick Nemeth, they see Joe Hendry, the Hardys, and other stars that they've seen on WWE television. And they're just like, okay, cool. Okay. So IO clarified. So like add-ons for Hulu and Amazon. So you're saying like, what if TNA Plus can become an add-on to an app like Hulu, Amazon, or Paramount Plus? I mean, that would be cool. That would be big for them. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I think that would be cool. So I'm looking at the star ratings here. I try not to put too much stock into the star ratings, but people like the content. So let's just do it. He gave Bailey and Vikingo 4.5 stars. I would say that was kind of right where I had it. I never felt like they went into that next gear to get to the 5. So I would say that's good. He gave 3 stars to Spitfire versus Wendy Chu and Rosemary. And I'm like, that's pretty generous. He underrated to me Macklin and Alexander. He gave it 3.5, but I guess maybe because he did not like the ref being so stupid. Yeah, I agree with that. I did think the zip tie behind the back made not only the referee look stupid, I think it made Macklin look stupid. So he took issue with that. He gave a 1.5 stars to PCO and Matt Cardona, which garbage match. He didn't really like those. And so I get why he rated it that way, but I have fun with PCO matches. He gave 3.5 to Mike Santana and Moose, which I think he underrated. But I thought that one was, a much better match. But he did say, again, the referee looks stupid at a certain point. Let's see. What did he say about that? Curtis pulled out a chain and got in the ring right in front of the ref with a chain. The ref just stood there. It was preposterous, but Curtis missed the chain shot and Santana used a spinning lariat on him and then another on Moose for the pin. And then he goes, I know why Moose never got into WWE, but I have no idea why he never became a star in New Japan. I would have liked to have seen him do more New Japan tours. I agree with Dave. I think he's perfect for TNA and for what TNA does. And he comes across as like a huge star in TNA. So and they pay him very well. He's probably the highest paid guy in the company. So that's why he's never left. But I, whenever they were working with New Japan, like I saw him in Los Angeles taking on Ishii, and I was like, Moose is perfect for New Japan. So I wish he would have gotten more New Japan tours, but he just never did it. Slamovich and Grace got 4 stars, so that's pretty good. Nemeth and Joe Hendry got 2 stars. I didn't like the match, so I would say that's pretty accurate. And then he gave 3.5 stars to the Full Metal Mayhem, and I would say that's like me and him are probably right in line there. I agree with that. So, so star ratings, folks.